Welcome to the Crash the Pond podcast. It is a Monday, June 16th edition, 8 p.m. on the nose. Feels right. Feels good.
It's been a minute since we've done one of these.
Yeah, it feels like we've done various podcasts over the last month or so, but very few have actually been kind of within our usual structure.
Yeah.
So, structure is important.
It is. It is. Lou's trying to say that I'm in a new room. I'm not. This is the same room.
Yeah, I called that out like 2 podcasts ago.
Something like that.
But, some people...
There will probably be a new room that I'm in the next week or two, though.
Yeah? Are you
That's
ready?
going to be coming. No, but we'll see. We'll get there.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
I know everyone is waiting for our opinion on the trade that happened over the last few days between the Red Sox and the Giants. Give me a little credit for that setup.
That was good. Credit. No, that was good. That was good. I'll give you that one.
I could tell it got you. I could tell
it did.
You thought I was going in a different direction.
Yeah.
Kidding aside, we won't talk about that. The Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks, or as Chris Kreider calls them, the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Chris Kreider is now a member of the Ducks.
He is?
Last week, the Ducks acquired him from the New York Rangers in exchange for Tavares, prospect, and a swap of picks. Basically, the Ducks move down, the Rangers move up. I think it's in the 3rd or 4th round. And so, yeah, Chris Kreider's a Duck. React.
Interesting. I think you and I did a little bit of an episode, what was it, last week, where it was just on YouTube, just on Twitch. So sorry for podcast listeners. It was a quick thing. I was in the car driving home from the Angels game when that happened.
Yes.
But I'd say my opinion is similar to what it was then, but it's shifted a little bit. I think overall excitement, because I think when all of the news was coming out last season, what was it, around October, November, about Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba and their names coming out on the email chain that the GMs have. And I think when that happened, you and I were both on board with Chris Kreider would be interesting to get, because while he was having a down year, he had really been productive in seasons past for the Rangers, had good underlying metrics, and could be a good kind of top 6 fill-in for this Ducks team and kind of fit with kind of what they needed with a goal scorer, a good power play player for the Ducks. And granted, after having a little bit of time after driving home and having a couple days, the numbers were not good this past year, but it's come out that he was injured for most of the season. I think he even said he probably played through things that he probably shouldn't have played through. And I think all of that leads me to, it's 2 years left. I think it's a good shot in the dark for the Ducks to be able to go out and get a guy that's had a history of being a 30 goal scorer in this league. He had, 52 goals in 21-22 and 30 goals consistently after that. Last season was his down season, having 22 goals. And so this is a guy that's going to help put the puck in the net for this Ducks team. I think you could be slightly critical that if this was viewed as a negative value deal, that the Ducks had to pay in order to get him. But I think that gets negated a little bit when you look at kind of what Carey Tavares has become. Like, he's under a point per game in his draft +2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Ducks are getting Chris Kreider, and you and I talked about this on the bonus episode we did, but he would likely get more than $6.5 million if he was a free agent right now. And so that kind of negates the thought, as I was thinking about that a little bit more as we were talking about that, maybe negates the thought of him being a negative value. I think the only thing that you can look at this and maybe be critical of Verbeek in general is the fact that he's taken on Trouba and Kreider and paid in both situations to relieve the Rangers of $14 million in cap space.
Yep.
So I think that is the only way on a global zoom out that you can be critical of this trade. But I think when you zoom in, look at this deal for what it is, look at for where Kreider's going to fit, look at that It's 2 years. It's not really going to have a whole lot of long-term implications. If he's really bad again this year, if you do go get Marner, if you have to pay Carlson, like there is always the option to buy him out over summer. Like that is not completely out of the question. You can find ways to move guys around. And with where the cap is going, $6.5 million just is not what it used to be. Like it's a whole lot less for what guys are getting. And so all in all, I think that this is a really good move for the Ducks team. And I think it's going to be an interesting transition period with Kreider on this team. Because to me, that's what it is. Like, sorry, I'm taking up all of this here and you haven't gotten a word in on it, but this feels like a bit of a transition type trade.
Explain that.
2 years left on his deal. The young kids are still developing. They are starting to get there. He is going to provide a little stopgap before the Cutter Gauthier of the world, Cutter Gauthier, the Leo Carlson, before these guys are lighting it up completely. And he's providing a little bit of a stopgap there.
So you had said this in the Patreon pod.
Okay.
But you had said that this is, he is what Alex Killorn and Ryan Strome are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Are you still standing by that?
Yeah. Ryan Strome, maybe not as much, because Strome, when he was signed, it was, he was 29 years old. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's a much more of a through line to Chris Kreider coming in and what they maybe thought Alex Killorn was going to be production-wise.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that I agree with a lot of the things you've said. It's also like the third time I've heard them because it feels like we've done this podcast like 3 times now.
Yeah,
with the YouTube stream and the Patreon. But what I'll add is just I think the way I'm looking at this is what is next season about for the Ducks? What are they trying to accomplish? And it's no longer a rebuild. This is like the very, very tail end of the rebuild. Now it's time to turn the corner and to make the playoffs. And Chris Kreider helps you do that. Chris Kreider accomplishes that goal. So from that lens, it checks the box. Now, the thing that you have to be careful about when thinking about making the playoffs is that it can't just be playoffs or bust. It can't just be like throw all caution to the wind, spend all the money, spend all the assets. Like you still have to be somewhat measured. The Ducks do have a long-term view here. They have a lot of young players who are going to be owed some money in not too long. And so you really want to be careful. And I think that this trade, accomplishes both of those things where you're not really compromising yourself long-term and you are pushing for the playoffs this season. Like, yeah, the 6.5 next offseason could be a little bit annoying just because of all the young players who are due contracts, but at the same time, you're going to have Gudas coming off the books, Trouba coming off, although who knows what's going to happen with Trouba. So I think it's kind of a win-win.
And plus, you're going to have an additional $10 million in cap space just added.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. That's the thing about this. I think that you can be a whole lot more critical of this deal and also the Trouba deal on top of that. Like, we're saying if you zoom out, that's the critique you can have. But it's not like a death sentence with this team. But if it was still flat cap, I think it's a different conversation. I think this conversation is centered around a rising cap situation for this Ducks team. I do think that they need to be cautious of if every deal you're making is a deal of, well, we paid I think you can definitely make the argument this is market value for Kreider. It was market value for Trouba. Oh, we paid market value. Maybe it's a negative asset deal, but we wanted to get the player and we're okay taking on that cap hit because we have cap space. If you continue to do that, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot eventually. Yes. Like eventually that's going to come back to get to you. And so I think with these 2 deals being shorter, it's not going to happen in the near future. But I think just from an overall methodology perspective, if that continues to happen, it could have long-term ramifications.
Yeah, exactly. Like when they acquired Jacob Trouba, everyone said, oh, well, the Ducks have a bunch of cap space. It doesn't matter. And now they've gotten Chris Kreider, and it's kind of a similar reaction of they have a bunch of cap space. It doesn't matter. They have $32 million left. But yeah, if you do that 2, 3, 4 times, like at a certain point, you're gonna see the effects of that.
Well, and here's just this right now. Let's just say this offseason, right? Let's say dream offseason for the Ducks right now. And let's just say, you've said this a bunch, $10 million for Dostal and McTavish.
Yeah.
Just kind of put that in there. So you said currently it's 32 mil is what they have in cap space. So that goes down to 22. Let's say they get Marner. Let's say they do go to 14 mil. Even though Frank Saravalli today, and we'll get to that, said they're not going anywhere near 14. Let's say they go up to 14. That puts them down to 8 mil in cap space. There's also some rumors swirling that we'll get to also about them going after John Tavares. What is John Tavares' cap hit going to be?
Yeah, it could be anywhere from 7 to 9. Like it could be anywhere in that range. 6
and
to 9. Yeah.
Just like that, you're out of cap space.
Exactly. And so if you do want to go big game hunting, this trade doesn't prevent you from doing that, but it does put a bit of a ceiling on what you can do. And it's not like a super low ceiling. If you get Marner and let's say a big name like Tavares, like mission accomplished, you also already have a bunch of forwards on your roster as it is, so it's not like you can go out and get 5 or 6 players. But yeah, it does put some guardrails around what you can do. And that is a consequence. But I think that one thing that we should...
So, real quick, Tavares is projected at 4 times 7.8 per evolving hockey.
I think he could get more than that. I think anywhere from 8 to 9, 7 to 9 is possible for him. But what I wanted to say is one thing we haven't talked about at all is just how Chris Kreider fits on the ice in this lineup. There's all the cap space talk, and I think that because of the time of year, people are really... they really want to hear about like how this affects free agency and whatnot, but like he is going to play for this team, and I think that aspect is really interesting. I'm very curious where they're going to put him in the lineup because there's 2 things at play. One is that there's multiple things at play, but it all stems from this. We don't know how Joel Quenneville views this lineup yet. We don't know how he views these individual players, and so, for example, if Trevor Zegras shifts back to center, you could very easily see a scenario where Chris Kreider is on his wing because his straight line speed, his kind of net front play, his finishing ability, it seems like it would really pair well with a guy like Zegras, who's such a smart passer but isn't necessarily the best skater. Or if Zegras shifts back to stays on the wing, does Kreider, is he on the wing of McTavish? Is he on the wing of Carlson? Who's the third line center? Is it Ryan Strome? So I think at 5-on-5, it's a little bit undetermined how he's going to fit. But one thing that's been said a lot, which I agree with, is I think on the power play, he's going to fit in quite nicely. Like he's always had that reputation of being a great net front guy, and his underlying stats in terms of power play impact, even this season where he had a down season, he was still really good on the power play. And that's an area where the Ducks desperately need to improve. They haven't had a net front guy, like an actually good net front player in a long time. And so just from the power play alone, he's going to help the team. And I think at 5-on-5, regardless of who they put him with, whether it is Carlson, McTavish, Zegras, whoever, like he's going to make those lines better. So
yeah,
he's gonna help the team.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that honestly with where he would fit specifically. I think I'm still wrapping my head around a lot of things with this team, but I think about the line construction. Putting him with Zegras is really fascinating because I think when you think of Trevor Zegras, right, and him playing center specifically, you think about him coming up the ice with the puck, being in the neutral zone with it. And what do you like? Let me ask you this question: when you think of Zegras entering the zone, what do you think of always?
He stops skating and he looks around for options.
See, I think of him just slowing down specifically or slamming on the brakes, basically.
Same thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can just picture a guy starting to close on him, and then you have Kreider hitting a gap.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that is exactly what you can think of with that. And so that was what came to mind right away, was that type of play with Kreider hitting a gap and coming in with a partial break on the goalie.
Yeah, I think Kreider even said it in one of his comments, because Kreider and Zegras are good buddies, apparently. Yeah. But I think Kreider said something about how Zegras has great hockey sense, and I would agree with that. Like, Zegras has incredible hockey sense. He's so aware on the ice. He can see things developing before others do. And with Kreider's speed, he could really kind of be that perfect match for him. Setting that aside, how would you see him fitting with, let's say, a Mason McTavish, which maybe is a bit more probable?
McTavish,
with McTavish at center, by the way.
Yeah. McTavish, I'm not sure if there's necessarily the mesh as well as with the Zegras. Because I feel like McTavish at times, like, he needs someone that can kind of drive offense on his wing. And I don't know if that's necessarily Chris Kreider. Like, I think Kreider needs someone to be able to set him up into those positions. And I think that's where I think playing with a Karlsson or playing with a Zegras could be really well done.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because if you look at the tracking data on Chris Kreider for the last 3 years before this past season,
hit me with it.
He doesn't generate a lot of zone entries on his own. He's not he's not carrying the puck on his own over the blue line. Now, part of that could just be a product of his role, and his line mates, but when it happens for like 3 consecutive years, it's starting to look a little bit more like a trend. And so, to your point, maybe McTavish isn't the best fit because McTavish is going to have to be the one carrying the puck.
Yep.
And we haven't necessarily seen McTavish be that great at that.
Yep.
What I will say, though, is that McTavish is really good at finding other people with speed. Like the times where he has played with Cutter Gauthier, he's actually done, I think he's done well, because by virtue of being slower, he has time to see the other people coming, and he can just kind of put the puck on a tee for them, and they can go ahead and run with it. So maybe the same thing would happen with Kreider, but I don't see McTavish. I mean, I don't want to already turn this into like a McTavish doubt segment, but I don't know if McTavish would mesh quite as well, but I think I might be a little higher on that than you would be. How do you think he would fit with Leo Carlsson?
I think Karlsson would be really, really interesting, because I think as Karlsson gets older, I think he has the ability to enter the zone and beat guys. But I think as he gets older, he's going to have to start realizing when that's not the best option of taking on 4 guys at once. Because you see Karlsson do that so often, right? He gets speed in the neutral zone and just tries to like bully around guys. And I think the next evolution in his game is having someone that he can dish the puck off to in those situations. And so I think that's where a Chris Kreider could be a really nice option for him, to have a layoff there that maybe picks up speed and can like skate with him in those situations.
Yeah, I think Karlsson and Kreider could be a fantastic fit. And honestly, I think Karlsson, Kreider, Gauthier is a lot more enticing than Karlsson, Killorn, Gauthier, even though Killorn was good on that line.
So let me ask you this. One thing I'm noticing looking at Puckpedia right now, there are a lot of left-handed shots on this Ducks team. I'm not saying that that's like this huge issue, but it was notable last year that Pat Verbeek wanted to go get a right-handed shot winger for this team. Didn't do that. Has now gone and gotten another left-handed shot in Chris Kreider. And there are only 2 right-handed shot forwards currently signed. It's Troy Terry and Ryan Strome. That's it.
Personally, I don't really care that much about that.
Sure.
I'm just going to be completely honest. But yeah, ideally, you'd have a couple of righties, especially on the right wing, just to kind of mix them in. Maybe that's Beckett Seneca if he makes the team. But yeah, Ryan Strome and Troy Terry are it. And Strome is a center, so... Unless
Trevor Zegras moves back to center, and then you have Strome on the right wing, and then you only have, in your top 6, 1 lefty on the right side.
Well, I think if Zegras shifts back to center, I could see a situation where Strome isn't a center either. Like he might just shift to the wing as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like super distracted because Puckpedia keeps playing this video ad, and it starts no matter what I do. I've like pressed every option to not have that happen.
They're getting you. They're getting your revenue.
Want to know something about me?
Sure.
I use Firefox. Do you think less of me now?
For all of the hate I got for our last regular episode that we got, you should get equal amounts of hate for that take.
I don't use it because I like it, by the way. Just putting that out there. I had a virus once, and it was affecting my Chrome, so I just was like, oh, let me just use a different browser. That'll help.
Everyone attack him. Everyone attack him.
Firefox is just... Supposedly it's better for privacy, but I don't believe that's actually true. I don't believe that. But yeah, it works. Like, it works fine. It's less integrated than Chrome. So, anyway, total tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Kreider trade, good. Minor quibbles that we've already talked about. Like, if you want to hear us being more critical about this, you can go to the Patreon where we spend a lot more time talking about the nuances of this. But we're 20 minutes in. Should we shift to some
Sure.
Some rumblings.
Sure.
Mitch Marner?
Yeah.
Ducks? Smoke?
Let me ask you this. Is there any bigger player, any bigger deal that the Ducks could do than getting Marner that would really show that Pat Verbeek was a man of his word? That they are looking to contend or looking to make the playoffs this year?
Are we talking about just through free agency?
Yes.
Yeah. Then this free agent class is not that deep. So, yeah, he's the one. Like, he is the big fish. But the thing is, he's not, like, Pat Verbeek is not alone in his chase for Mitch Marner. But yeah, it seems like every insider or connected reporter over the last few days has made some mention of how the Ducks are going to be in on Marner this offseason. And I'm assuming that you're buying it from what it sounds like.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it makes too much sense, right? Like, the fact that Mitch Marner is good defensively, like, he seems like a player that, like, if you look at the players that Joel Quenneville had, like, in Chicago, right, he did not have big burly guys or anything like that. So if you have a head coach that probably is looking at that and providing some feedback to Pat Verbeek, I would imagine that Joel Quenneville is a guy that would probably be a fan of Mitch Marner's game and is probably advocating for that. And so with that, with Pat Verbeek, like, I think all of this leads me to, like, he is a 100-plus point player. Like I mentioned, I don't know which podcast it was we did. I don't know if it was a main show or not. But regardless of that, like, the Ducks have not had a player the caliber of Mitch Marner since probably prime Korea or prime Solani.
Oh, yeah, you were attacked for that.
I mean, it's the truth, though. Like, as good as Getzlaf and Perry were, neither of them were on that level.
Agreed.
And so these types of players don't come that often, and that's why I think it was a Crash the Draft episode, I said pay him $16 million if you have to.
Yeah.
Like, do what you need to. But what we're starting to hear is that Frank Seravalli came out and said, through well-connected sources, he's heard the Ducks are not going to go to 14. They are willing and interested in Pat Verbeek. Pat Verbeek is interested in Mitch Marner, but he's not going to go and give this, like, godlike offer that is obscene. But having said that, like, we've also seen some reports that the Ducks are likely to be the high bidder for Mitch Marner. Like, there's been some reports about that. I think it's going to be really fascinating. And the only kind of other tidbit on that came from 32 Thoughts this morning was that Elliot Friedman mentioned that he does not think that Mitch Marner is going to sign on July 1.
Huh.
He thinks that he's going to take his time. He maybe is going to hear offers from a bunch of different teams on July 1 or hear pitches and maybe narrow it down to like 2 or 3 and go and visit them.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're in his shoes, why wouldn't you do that?
What's the deal with this report that he might want 4 years instead of 7?
That came on 32 Thoughts. I think that it was something thrown out there that some people think that might make it more manageable for like a Vegas to do it. Mm-hmm. But Elliot even said, he's like, this isn't going to lower the cap hit.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, it might raise the cap hit. Like, I don't understand that. Like, from his perspective, I think it was maybe them throwing it out there because of Matthews doing that. Like, I could get it from his perspective if you're seeing where the cap is going and you want to take the bet on yourself having 4 fantastic years.
But this is like your one shot, though, to get the mega deal.
Well, if he thinks at 32, he's still going to get that. But yeah, he should probably go for 7.
Take the 7. Like,
yeah.
I get the whole bet on yourself thing, but when you can just have, $70+ million in front of you, like, just take it.
Yeah.
Just take it. Because what if he breaks the leg and is never the same? Like, it's just, be smart.
Yeah. But here's
my... I wanted your reaction on this whole the Ducks aren't willing to go. They're not willing to go past 14, or
something like that.
They're not going to offer. Yeah. Like, is that short-sighted by Pat Verbeek? Because here's the thing: the projections for Marner's contract, even if you play up the cap to like 105, it doesn't even get to 14. It's like 13.95. 7 times 13.95. So do you think it's unreasonable that he wouldn't go past 14, or kind of where are you at on that?
My opinion on that is that, like I mentioned, there has not been a player like this in the Ducks organization in 20 some odd years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you may have to have some cap casualties if you go in the $14-15 million range. But we're talking about $1 million a year difference when you have a salary cap that's over $100 million. You can find ways to make that work. If you're going up to 13.9, 13.8, if you can guarantee, obviously, like if you don't have to go above 14 to get the player, sure. But if that guarantees you the player and is what it takes to get there, then you do it. It's that simple.
Yeah, like that's kind of my thing, is that on one hand, I think I agree that there should be a bit of a hard out number, where I think if you start getting to like 15 or beyond, you are overpaying. You just are.
I think you have to accept that you're going to be overpaying.
Sure, but so here's the thing. Like, this is the other side of that coin, is that yes, you are overpaying, but at the same time, you're the Anaheim Ducks. You're not a destination for free agents. You're not a destination for trade historically. You have just said that this is your shot at, this is all about making the playoffs. This is all about pushing. The owner has said there are no constraints budget-wise. I think when you talk all of that talk and you know the realities of being the team that you are, you almost kind of have to do it. Like it's one of those things where just in a cold vacuum, I tend to agree with there should be a number you shouldn't go past, but where the Ducks are at, I think you just have, like you said, you kind of just have to be comfortable with the fact that, especially with a Pat Verbeek who loves to get his way with free agents, well, restricted free agents, like, you're not going to win, quote unquote, win this deal. You're going to have to overpay, but you're getting the player. You're getting the best player in the market, who is, as far as unrestricted free agents go, he is very high up there in terms of the quality you could expect in a free agent class. Like, players of his ilk usually don't come along on July 1st. And if you can get him, you have the opportunity to transform your franchise. That's probably worth the additional $7 million over 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it would come out to. And so, yes, you should overpay, but within reason. Like 16, no.
Oh, I'd still do it. Like, personally, like, I just
don't think you don't have to get to 16.
No,
is my thing. Yeah.
Fair. Like, I'm not disagreeing there.
Like don't negotiate against yourself.
Agreed. Yeah. But like, let's just say you're negotiating against someone else. I would go all the way up there because the cap's rising. Do what it takes.
The cap could also not rise at a certain point.
Well, sure.
Like I think we've been taught now that the cap is not, because that's what Toronto thought when they signed Marner and Matthews, and then the pandemic happens, and I'm not saying that you should expect that to happen, but you should at least keep in mind that things could happen that could drastically affect the economy. I mean, if you watch the news lately, you might understand that. So I think that there's like a limit to how far you can go.
Sure.
And I think 16 is starting to get into the like a little bit irresponsible range. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think realistically, I mean, there may be teams that aren't willing to go above 13.
That's what I think. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to say without articulating it well, is that I don't think his market is 14. I think his market is the Rantanen deal around there, the 12-ish range. And so if you go 1.5 plus above that, like, you're smoking everybody.
Yeah, because what's the Draisaitl deal?
Isn't he like is he 13? I feel like he's 13, but I could be way off.
Like, I feel like there might be teams that just don't even want to make him no, it's 14.
Oh, okay.
14 on the dot.
He's not getting 14 then. I mean, there you go. He's not Draisaitl.
Would you give him that if it gets you him?
If I am Pat Verbeek, like, I am not doing that as a GM of many other teams, but as Pat Verbeek, being as constrained as I am, I think you kind of just have to do it.
Yeah,
And live with the consequences.
I think you have to be willing to make him one of the highest paid players in the league.
But I think 14 is his absolute ceiling.
Sure. I would go higher than that, but yes.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's simple contract math. Look at Leon Draisaitl's stats.
Agreed.
Mitch Marner is not better than him, ergo he's even with a rising cap. Like, a rising cap might just get him to the same number, but he's not getting anything beyond that. So
yeah, like teams may be looking at him and comparing him to Rantanen, who, well,
I think Rantanen is more of the comp because it's a recent contract.
Yeah, and it's 12 years or $12 million. Now, granted, Calden Mayer said in our YouTube chat saying, I feel like Rantanen wanted to give a middle finger to the Avs, so he took less. Maybe, I mean, 12 mil is still a really hefty contract.
How much did he really leave on the table, though?
Yeah, and so 12 mil is a lot. So it may be some teams are wanting him to be at 12 for Marner. And if you come in at 13.5, you are in a league of your own with that.
I think Rantanen may have left like $1 million on the table.
Maybe.
At most.
Oh, like in total or per year?
Yeah, per year.
Okay. Just wanted that
not
confirmation. Total.
Yeah, what's $1 million divided by 8? Don't answer that. But anyway. Yeah, like I don't think he was getting past 13. Cuz what did McKinnon get? McKinnon's like at 13.5, right?
I think it's 12.5. Let's see.
McKinnon?
Yeah, let me double check. I had it open earlier. 12.6.
Yeah, he wasn't getting more than McKinnon. So it's just funny how sometimes these deals are just, it's kind of easy to predict just looking at the, like, certain guys, comparable contracts, they set the high water mark, and it's like a GM is just not going to pay Mitch Marner more than Leon Draisaitl. Like, it's just not happening.
And I'm seeing someone bring up just with Texas and not having taxes. One thing I want to just make sure with that is clear, because this is I think a misconception.
The savings are not that high.
Well, because this is a misconception for a lot of people, and that is, I think a lot of people assume that guys get paid the tax rate on their entire contract of the state they're living in. And that's not really how it works. The way it works is half of your season is you're basically paid per arena that you play game in. So,
yeah, but still, like, if you play 41 games,
there's no state
income tax. Yes,
sure,
like that's a lot of games over 7 years.
My point is, though, it's not all 82 games. You're not getting your entire paycheck in that way. You are still paying income tax on some of your contract.
Yeah, I just think that even with the income tax thing, like that's like $1 million AAV difference probably. It's not this huge. Like, I'm not even going to get into the income tax thing, but it's not a huge difference maker in his number.
Yeah.
So, like, a team with a state income tax, which again, that rate can change, so it's like it's hard to even compare it, but they're not going to pay him $2 million more. Like, that's just not.
Yeah.
It's not how this works. So anyway.
And then the other thing from today, unless there's anything else you want to touch on with Marner.
Well, there's the Tavares thing.
That's where I was going.
I'll just finish off by saying this. Okay. I know that there's varying opinions on Marner, but you need talent. Like, you need brute elite talent to win, and you can quibble with what Mitch Marner really, really is, but his stats warrant the contract he's going to get, that he will get. And if you want to make your team better, you need to add talent, and you need to pay for that talent. And so, like, beggars can't be choosers. The Ducks haven't made the playoffs since 2018. Yeah, they haven't made the playoffs since 2018, as long as we've been doing this podcast. Now is your chance to add someone who's actually going to move the needle. Like, don't overthink it. Get the player and figure it out from there.
Yep. Marner had 102 points this season.
Yeah, like, the level of overthinking that's going on because of all the stuff around the Leafs and the drama, it's like, just tune that out. Just focus on the facts.
102 points, kills penalties, is really good defensively, is really good offensively.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, is close to a perfect hockey player for me.
Just kind of does everything. Like, the thing too that we forget is, like, Mitch Marner doesn't have to come in and be the savior. Like, he's going to be really, really good, and he's going to have to live up to that contract, but the Ducks have their own nucleus of really good young players who are going to get better and better and they're going to elevate the team as well. So giving them a Mitch Marner to work with only makes those players better as well. Like, why wouldn't you want to give Leo Carlsson Mitch Marner? Why wouldn't you want to give Mason McTavish a Mitch Marner? Like that's what this is about, is surrounding your core that you've lost a lot of games to attain. Like, make good on this core. So yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the other thing on this is today on the sheet, Jeff Merrick mentioned that basically there's a lot of people within the Ducks organization that are really, really big fans of John Tavares, and he would not be surprised if they take a swing at John Tavares. And it wouldn't surprise wouldn't surprise them if the Ducks end up getting both.
Well, that's something Friedman talked about too, didn't he?
He mentioned, I don't think he said that both going them, but he said the Ducks have interest in both of them, if that makes sense.
Sometimes Friedman does this thing where like he starts putting dots together without explicitly saying the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tavares is a bit more of a trickier case because of his age, because of the fact that he did take a step back at 5-on-5 this year while remaining elite on the power play. And, you know, if you go back a couple years ago, he was a lot better and still very productive at 5-on-5. But there is a little bit of concern about how that one could age. And so, yes, if you can get John Tavares on a 2-year deal, I think that's okay. But again, it's like what we talked about with Kreider. Like, how many mid-30s guys can you bet on?
Yeah.
Like, some of them are going to fall off. Like, it may happen with Kreider this year. It may happen with Killorn this year. And if you add a Tavares into it, now you've got 3 mid-30s guys that you're hoping can maintain their level of production. And just like historically, that's not a great bet. Now, me personally, I really like John Tavares' game, and I think I would sign him. But there is a lot of downside there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of risk. I think you're definitely kind of putting yourself into this older age range. I think if they didn't have one of like Ryan Strome, and Strome's not in the same age range or age bracket as Tavares, but one of Ryan Strome or Alex Killorn, I think you would feel better about bringing in a John Tavares. I think you could also feel better about John Tavares if he came in and was, I mean, this is not going to be the case. But if he came in with the understanding he was likely going to just be a fourth-line center for the Ducks and be an overpaid fourth-line center while you have young guys on ELCs.
I mean, to be fair, though, Tavares had 74 points last year.
Agreed.
He had 38 goals. Like, he would have led the Ducks in every offensive category.
I'm not disagreeing. But I think in a fourth-line role moving forward, as you have these young guys and him playing on a power play, I think that would be a good fit.
I think ideally he'd be your third-line center. Where you have, or just like forget even the first, second, or third line distinctions. Just having 3 lines that have different looks offensively that could each kind of gel. I think that could be interesting. Like, that's why I'm still intrigued with Tavares, because he's still very, very productive, and he kind of brings a different look to the Ducks forward lineup, because they have a lot of, you know, kind of straight line skill guys, and just bring a guy who maybe slows it down, has that net front ability. Like, that could help. So I also just like, this is now going to sound very dumb coming from me, but like, you know, I think that he seems like a good leader. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Like, I think that, like, for example, the way he handled the whole, like, getting the captaincy over to Matthews, like, I think he'd be a good influence on the players in the locker room. Like, I think he carries himself well. And he's still a decent player. Like, he's just not washed up by any means. Like, if you look at some of the track data, like, he's still looking pretty good. So, yes, there is risk. And I guess that Tavares is probably the first guy we've talked about where it's like, if you go back to the first thing I said about balancing pushing for the playoffs next season versus long-term health, he's the first one where it's like, maybe you're a little too far on the side of this could be a problem down the line, where it's not as worth it just to make the playoffs next season. Yep,
I'd agree with that.
What number would he wear? He's always been 91. He's I don't know what, maybe he was something on Team Canada.
Yeah, will he give Leo Carlsson a Rolex for the number?
Oh, he was 20 on Team Canada, which is a problem because
Chris Kreider.
Chris Kreider. So, by the way, is Brett Leeson just done? Is that
Yes.
is that basically official?
Is Isaac Lundestrom done?
Well, if you get Tavares, yes.
Yeah.
If you get another center, then yes. I mean, of course, a lot of it depends on Trevor Zegras playing center, which we still don't know. Like, that's why it's kind of hard to do these like mock lineups, because we don't know how Quenneville views this team. So,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a problem.
Yep. And I think that's really it for the rumors, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if there were any other news or anything else
No.
that you wanted to hit.
No.
Yeah, I saw one thing, a little bit of a prospect slant here.
Okay.
Corey Pronman, a name that gets uttered quite a bit this time of year, said in an Athletic article about what each team's biggest positional need is in their pipeline. He mentioned that the Ducks have a shortage of defensemen. Agree or disagree?
Huh? I mean, I guess theoretically, if we're ignoring all the guys on the NHL roster, then I guess you could agree with that.
Yeah, I think that I actually don't. It's
that,
not
that,
wrong. It's not wrong, but it's also kind of missing the point.
Yeah, like it's not wrong from the pipeline perspective, but it's also missing the point with the fact that, okay, most of these guys that are on the NHL roster would be in the pipeline, or like is a similar age of other guys in the pipeline.
Well, yeah, like Zellweger, we can get into this a little bit then with the defense, but like Zellweger, Minchikov, Lacombe are all 24 or under. That's your left side. And then on your right side, you've got Drew Hellison, who's the same age as Lacombe. So that's 4 guys right there who are going to be there probably for at least a few more years. So yeah, maybe if you're weaker in your defense pipeline, that's a little bit of an issue. But those defensemen you're drafting might not ever get a chance to play on the team, because you've got these guys holding down spots. And then you've got Tristan Luneau, who's probably on the team next year, who's like, 21?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just not a lot of upward mobility for if you're a defense prospect. Like even Stian Solberg, who is a really promising prospect, like he might have to play a whole year in the AHL next year before he gets a chance. Now, of course, there's been some rumors, not really rumors, but like people talking about Aaron Ekblad to the Ducks. And it does kind of beg the question about, do you think that the Ducks roll into next season with their blue line as is? Because in theory, they don't have to do anything. The blue line is set. Like they've got all their guys.
Yeah. I think realistically it's set.
Interesting.
I think that is what it is. In my ideal world, you get rid of one of Gudis or Trouba, and then you roll in with Hellison and Luneau. But I think realistically what we're going to see is the left side is going to be the same. The right side is going to have Trouba, Gudis, and then Hellison and Luneau switching in and out.
Yeah.
I think realistically that's kind of where it's at. The only way that maybe it gets swapped out is if you have one of Gudis or Trouba going to another team and potentially someone else coming in. I'm seeing some people in the chat mentioning like a Noah Dobson.
Yeah, those are the names that get brought up, is Dobson and Ekblad. And I think for me, I can get behind going out and getting a bigger name on the right side, but under the condition that Gudis and Trouba are gone next summer.
Here's my issue with that. Why did you go and get Jacob Trouba if you're going to do this?
Oh, I agree.
Like, what was the purpose of that?
But like that's my thing, is that if you get Ekblad or you get Dobson, which I would much prefer Dobson to Ekblad.
Dobson, you can at least make the argument of you're trading for a high-end guy in his prime.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think Dobson you make an exception for, but either way, I just think like just get rid of one of Gudis or Trouba at that point. Who are you? Probably Gudis at that point you're letting go of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not against the idea of adding an established right shot D, and then the year after, that's your one remaining non-youngster defenseman on the right side. Then you can have Luneau as the second pair, and you can have Hellison or Solberg come up and be on that third pairing. So it kind of works out that way. So like I'm not against the acquisition. It's just you cannot extend anyone else in that scenario.
Yeah, like if you go out and get Dobson, you can't. You need to find a way to get rid of Gudis or Truba, and then you just don't extend the other one when they come up for their deal because you have these young guys that are coming in, and at a certain point, they do need to become the guys that are playing on your team.
Yeah.
Like you can't just have roadblocks forever for them, and so that's where if you extend one of these guys, that's the issue there. I think Dobson's a really good player to be added to this team if they want to add a right hand shot defenseman. But if you add him, then you want to have a spot for Luno. Like you need to have those spots there for those guys eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was some of the scuttlebutt. Other little bit of scuttlebutt that we'll probably talk more about on Crash the Draft, but Roger McQueen getting taken to dinner by the Ducks, a secret dinner. Are you how do you feel about that?
I think McQueen's going to be drafted by the team.
Really?
It just makes sense.
He also compared his game to Ryan Getzlaf.
Once again, just makes sense.
Like if it's starting to feel like that there's maybe some momentum there. Also, I just don't think that. I mean, he's had dinner with other teams, so like you can't necessarily put too much stock into it. Like he called his dinner with the Penguins a remarkable moment. So it's like, is he just laying it on thick with everybody that takes him to dinner? Trying to be like really playing the part of like super grateful and happy for every opportunity. Like it's possible. But one thing that's interesting is just that I feel like the Ducks can be weirdly not just tight-lipped, but like they might not even let the prospect know of any kind of interest. Like remember Beckett Seneca last year?
Yeah.
How he didn't really know of anything until he was picked. So the fact that the Ducks are showing this interest in McQueen now and that it's come out, because maybe the Ducks would have told him otherwise, like, no, just don't tell anyone. Like, don't tell anyone about this. Like, who knows? Maybe they are really interested. I don't know if he'll go above 10, after 10, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Yep.
Okay, should we do questions?
Yep, let's get to questions. We'll start with our Discord. Go to patreon.com/crashpond where you can support us at the $2 tier and get access to our Discord, and you can ask questions. And so we'll start with Hockey for Life. Says, as the Ducks near the opening of their window to contend, they have a lot of young players fighting for spots. Which players would you project to be part of the core foundation for the future? In other words, which guys are guys to build around in the top 6 and top 4, and which guys would you consider either bottom 6/pair or trade bait?
Ooh, fun question. Very fun question. Let's start with the forwards. So this is just who's in the core, who's not.
Yeah, I think it's for sure Carlson Gauthier right now.
Terry?
I think Terry's on the fringe of that because of age.
Yeah, he's 27.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cutter and Carlson for sure. Zegras
is fringe also. I think there's a lot of questions. As much as you and I both really like Trevor Zegras, I think there's a lot of questions of his game due to the past 2 seasons.
So this is like what we're projecting though.
Oh, okay.
Like which guys are guys to build around?
Yeah. Okay, I would say then yes. I think Zegras.
I think Zegras, his player type to me is hard to find in free agency.
Yes, agreed.
And I do think that he can help you. And I do think that we haven't been able to see the best of him, and he is not a perfect player. I don't know what he'll end up being worth on his next contract, but he's just a guy who can help your team.
Yeah.
And I think you should just keep him around.
Yeah.
So that's 3.
Do you think McTavish?
Why'd you have to do that to me? McTavish.
Do you consider McTavish if this team's contending a bottom 6 player?
If he is, that's potentially a problem as a 3rd overall pick. Not necessarily. Like Jordan Stahl. What was Jordan Stahl?
High pick.
And he was the 3rd line center for Pittsburgh, granted behind 2 pretty good guys.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he could be, but he might be the one that I'm more willing to shop around and listen on.
Seneca?
Unknown, because I haven't seen him play in the NHL yet, but I'll say yes. I think that if you look at his arc and his potential, right shot wing with the ability to create. Like he's a guy that you should build around.
Yeah. And then defense. I think Minchikov, Zellweger. Do you put Lacombe there?
Do you put Zellweger there?
Yes, I think you put Zellweger there.
So the thing with Lacombe is he's 24 and he just had his breakout season.
Yep.
Do you buy that this is what he's going to be?
I think there's a lot of really good signs from him this past year with what he did. But I think that there are certainly some question marks there.
Yeah.
Just in terms of will he be able to replicate what he did this past season? I think that there are a whole lot more, and I think there are going to be people that will question kind of, well, Minchikov and Zellweger didn't do this past year. Why are you putting them there? Purely age. I think what they're doing at their age is so impressive. So I think you put Lacombe there, though.
I mean, for me, honestly, I just put everyone on the blue line as part of that. I think they're all good. I think you should just keep them all and not do anything else. Like maybe Drew Hellison is one that could end up being, I don't know if I'd put Drew Hellison in that. How about that? But like Lacombe, Minchikov, Zellweger, Luneau, and Solberg. I think you've got 5 guys right there. Like you're done with your blue line.
Yep.
You just need one more piece. So yeah, I think that you're not really worried about that. And then obviously Dostal.
Yeah.
Although this is more about skaters, but
yep.
And then really no one else in the pipeline. Colangelo?
I think Colangelo could be like a bottom 4 or bottom 6 type of guy for you as you're starting to contend. But yeah, I think that the blue line's a good shout. I think Zellweger and Minchikov are going to become beasts in 2 seasons.
There's also Ian Moore.
Yeah. Bottom pairing guy.
He's 23. He's going to be
interesting.
24. Can be a solid player, but I'm not putting him
it's kind of similar
category.
Similar to Drew Hellison, honestly.
I just think guys like that are fine, but you can find them easily.
I think that they can be your 6th defenseman, a solid 6th defenseman.
What Zellweger, Lacombe, and Minchikov can do is just harder to replace.
Agreed.
It's very difficult to replace without paying a lot of money for.
Yes, agreed. All right, Charbonneau asks us, if you could handpick one of the following to be Ducks, Natchez, Robertson, or Ehlers, who would it be and why? Robertson.
That's tough. I'm tempted to say Ehlers. But I don't know. Like I guess Robertson. Is he younger?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he is 25. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Robertson.
It's Robertson. Just the pedigree's there from a scoring perspective. Really good underlying numbers.
Yeah, but he's a lefty.
Is he a lefty? I was gonna say, is he lefty or righty? But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Secondly, what would you be willing to give up via trade to acquire them? Let's just say Robertson.
So we had this whole debate the other day about what he would cost, comparing him to other past similarly situated players. Would you do like Tristan Luneau in the 10th overall pick?
Yes.
Okay. Would you do McTavish plus 10th overall? Plus another pick? The answer is yes for me, by the way.
It's probably yes, but the makes me feel like it's probably a proper value.
I just don't think he would cost like a blue chip like roster player. I think it would be more like a prospect.
Yeah.
Or just a bunch of picks like we saw with DeBrincat. So
yeah. All right. Hockey for Life asks, a lot of attention for offseason upgrades has rightly been focused on forwards. The defense could likely use a top 4 right-hand defenseman upgrade, considering likely acquisition cost. Rank your top few picks for the Ducks. I mean, Dobson's probably the top of the list. I'm not a fan of Ekblad.
I also, the thing is, I don't think that Dobson's actually available. I mean,
sure.
If you listen to Matthew Darsh's comments as the new GM, it sounds like they want to make the playoffs next year. So why would
they're probably not? Yeah.
Why would they trade him?
Yeah. And I also don't know how much the Ducks' right-hand defense, like, I think the upgrade comes if you get rid of Trouba or Gudis and maybe flip them out and bring someone in. But I think you also are hoping Tristan Leno can come in and provide an impact for this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see like who would even...
Ekblad's it, and I don't want Ekblad at all, personally.
I just don't think he's that good. And
Agreed.
He's also just a dirty player.
Agreed.
Dante Fabro? He's fine. He's decent.
People are speculating Adam Fox because of all the Rangers the Ducks have brought in.
Yeah. Matt Grzelcyk is a lefty. Never mind. Cody Ceci? There you go.
Oh. We said upgrade. All right. Brad said, now that the first shoe is dropped with Kreider, what do you predict we will get in terms of position player? No names necessary. I think they're gonna get a winger and a center.
Yeah. I think they're getting 2 more forwards.
Yeah. And I don't think they're gonna touch the defense, honestly.
Yeah. Why would you? Like, just leave it alone.
Yeah. Betting 5 says, if they can't sign Marner or Ehlers, what other free agents do you think would be good fits for the Ducks to sign? I think Granlund.
Yeah. Granlund would be good.
Who else?
I think Tavares would be good on the right deal. I know that'll get
if you don't sign Marner, Marner or Ehlers, are you more amenable to giving John Tavares a larger term?
No, because I don't want to make a mistake just because I couldn't get the other thing. But yeah, after that, I do think like there's a big drop off in this class. Like I don't think Matt Duchene is leaving Dallas, but he would be the one I would target. I just don't think he'll leave. Is Claude Giroux leaving Ottawa?
Probably not. Also,
probably not, and he's old.
Barkman brings up this name in our YouTube chat, Jonathan Toews. I am firmly out on Jonathan Toews.
We just don't know. Like it's just so hard to.
Well, but here's my issue. You have a guy that has not played in 2 seasons in the NHL, was really bad in his final season in the NHL, and now at 37 years old is trying to come back for a last hurrah. Like, it's just, there's no way that this really works out well.
Jack Roslovic?
Bring in Jack Roslovic. Let's do it.
Honestly, do something like that.
Yeah.
Brad Marchand?
No.
Really? He's
annoying.
Really?
I'm just going that route. Actually, I don't know.
He's kind of. I feel like he's taken a babyface turn.
He's gonna get overpaid, I guess, is more so where I'm coming at.
I think he would actually help the team, though.
I think he's going to get. I think $8 million is I think what people are projecting.
He's not getting 8.
Oh, well, just you wait.
If he gets 8, I'll devour.
You did not think that Sam Bennett was gonna get 8, right?
He's projected at 2x5. How is he getting 8?
He's potentially going to win the Conn Smythe.
He's not winning the Conn Smythe.
It's him or Sam Bennett.
He's not winning the Conn Smythe. He's not winning the cup. I should.
Did Sam Bennett sign his contract yet? By the way,
what do you mean?
Wasn't it rumored that he's
going back to Florida?
He was going to sign an 8x8 or something like that.
I mean, 8x8 is. I said he wasn't getting 10. I didn't say he wasn't getting 8.
Okay.
He was never getting 10. That was crazy talk.
All right. All right. Next question. Brad said, Friedman reports Vegas is a team to watch for Marner. Still think the Ducks can sign him. Yeah, I do.
I think it's just, I never doubt Vegas's ability to get the big fish because they've done it many, many times now, but they just have more hurdles to clear than the Ducks do.
Yeah.
To bring him on. So.
All right, Felix, I'm setting you up for a fun response. The response to something that's been said online about you a bit. But Drake Duquesne said, "Hey gents, been curious for a while about how this pod started. How did Felix, as a Canadians fan living in the Bay Area, end up doing a Ducks pod? Appreciate you guys as always."
I feel like I've answered this question a bunch of times over the years, but
Drake, this is not a shot for you. At you with it.
Yeah, it's not a shot at you. It's just I've been asked this a few times because, it is slightly confusing, and so I completely understand the question. So I'll just try to give you a very quick rundown. I was born in Montreal. I grew up a Canadiens fan. My family was all Habs fans. I moved to the Bay Area as a kid and grew up in the Bay Area, but was always a Habs fan, and also possibly being the contrarian that I am, although I'm not admitting to that. I'm just saying possibly. All my friends, my hockey playing friends as a kid were Sharks fans, and I didn't want to be like them, so that probably fueled it as well. And then I went to college in Orange County, and at the time I was still doing writing blogs, and there was an opening for a Ducks writer on the Hockey Writers, and there was another website before that, but generally I took up a blogging spot and held it for a few years, and then I moved to Anaheim Calling, and we started a podcast there, and it just kind of snowballed. It just never really stopped.
Yeah.
So yeah,
pretty much.
That's hopefully that wasn't too long.
And I think that origin story kind of highlights kind of what we've always kind of thought made us a bit different in the Anaheim hockey
in our lore.
In our lore.
Yeah.
I think there are plenty of podcasts out there for the Ducks that are more so going to give you the fan view of it, of rah, I'm a fan of this team. Whereas I think our whole viewpoint, our lane that we tried to carve out for ourselves to try to be our own thing here is that, hey, Felix is not a Ducks fan here. He can provide kind of more objective analysis, and then myself being more of I'm an engineer, more of a math nerd, that type of stuff. I really like looking at the numbers of this thing, and I try my best to check my bias when I am analyzing this team and we're going over it. I mean, this whole thing started with us doing game by game, post game pods. And so I think what we really cut our teeth on was not being a traditional fan podcast and trying to provide some unbiased analysis of the team. And sure, there's going to be biases that seep in here and there, but that is kind of where we've buttered our bread here. And so that's I think there was some pushback on the podcast on a couple different places of why is Felix doing a podcast as a Canadiens fan about the Ducks and all this type of stuff. And it's like, to me personally, doing this podcast with you, that's I think what makes the show great for us, is having you be a little bit different than me and have different views on things. And when I do sometimes get in that fan mode, or it helps to check that view of mine to understand, okay, where is this actually coming from my brain?
Yeah, and I think over the years I have become invested in the team because I spend so much time thinking and talking about them. So it's I want to see it through. We haven't
We've covered one playoff series.
We haven't done a playoff series. We haven't done a victorious playoff series. We haven't
seen a playoff win.
And Jake and I have covered this entire rebuild. We were there for the Zegras draft. We were then there for Drysdale and McTavish and Carl. We've been through the steps. So now it's I want to see it. I want to see how it plays out. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm just as intrigued as everyone else who's a fan. And also the reason is we have a good thing with this pod. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing the pod. It could be about another team, but I enjoy doing the pod with you. So
thank you.
We've
legit become friends because of this.
Yeah.
We were never didn't know each other before doing this, and now Felix and I text every day. That's
hey, don't let him, yeah. But yeah.
Don't pull back the curtain that much.
Yeah, don't pull it back too far. But yeah, exactly. And so but there was just the reason we're kind of going on about this is because there was a lot of pushback on the Joel Quenneville episode, and people got really upset and this and that, and then they just kind of latched on to any possible thing to bring us down, and it's you're not going to. It's not going to work. We've been doing this for 8 years. We've seen it all. We've seen it all at this point. The Quenneville thing may have been unprecedented, but
sure. And I think anyone that thinks that something like that, even with my dislike of it, is going to make it where I can't analyze this team properly, just listen to however many years we've done this show. There's times here and there, but hell, I've complimented Derek Grant at times. No one can say I can't check my bias to provide analysis.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Did you compliment Randy Carlyle though?
I definitely did at some point. We did an episode after every damn game. Yeah. I at some point had to have complimented him.
How many podcasts do you think we've done?
Oh,
500.
Do you think we've hit 1,000?
Honestly, if you factor in the Patreons, it's possible.
We've done in the upwards of hundreds of We're in the 160s on Patreon.
Dang, everyone's saying Elite 1C in the chat. Look what you did.
Gross. Why did I do this? Well, 50. I mean, we're for sure above 500.
Oh yeah, easily.
We're probably in the 700s or 800s.
Once a week, every week for the last couple of years. So that's 100 or so in the bank. And then there was about 200 post games. Anyway.
We did it for like 3 seasons.
Yeah. So
the pandemic is what stopped us.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but hopefully people
a fun tangent.
It was because of a question, so not really a tangent. Yeah.
Salami Sandwich said, on the topic of your podcast, I've been listening to it for a few years now, and I appreciate the thought process of your opinions backed by analytics. Have you thought about what you might change or special guests you might seek out for next season's pod?
Where's this question?
In podcast questions on Discord.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
What we might change. Well, this season we introduced Crash the Draft, which I think has been a fun little bit of a kind of a curveball, bit of a change up. You know, we've always kind of had this back and forth of do we want to have more guests? And there's a couple reasons why we haven't. One, it's just extra work. And Jake and I are both fairly busy, and so it's like this podcast is kind of like the limit of what we can do. But also, I think that while guests can be fun, I think the value of this show for listeners is our exchange. That's, I think, what people mainly tune in for. And then the other thing, the other elephant in the room, is that the Ducks make it very, 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 very hard / impossible, actually just impossible, to have anyone from the team on the podcast and anything like that. So we have this whole pool of people that we would want to have on that we're just not allowed to talk to. So those are all the reasons.
Yeah. Alex Olvera says, any plans to bring Mitch Brown on this year? We should probably reach out.
Maybe after the draft. Yeah. I feel like the post drafts are easier because it's like we can just go over the players as opposed to like, who do you think? Who do you think?
Yeah.
At 10? Especially at 10. It's
and
like, could be anyone.
On Salami Sandwich's question, there may be some guests that you may have to bring on early on in the season as I may be tied up a little bit.
Oh. Okay. Or the pod will just be in hiatus.
There's also that.
I have no idea what my life will be like in 2 months.
I mean, I don't know where my life is going to be in 4 months. Well, I do know where it's going to be.
I can tell you where it's going to be.
I'm going to be up through the night.
Awake at 3 a.m. Dead tired.
So like a normal work day sometimes for me.
It actually won't be all that different.
Yeah, there we go.
What I'll say to Salami Sandwich, though, and I appreciate the question and the shout, is if you have suggestions, let us know. Like, that is also part of the fun of the Discord. Is like, just tell us what you want, and we'll find a way, or we'll do what we can. So
we used to be Mighty said, with the rumors that the 3rd overall pick is up for trade, what's your best and final offer from the Ducks? So you're more in tune with all the prospects. Is it worth it to go 10-3?
Well, it depends on the price.
Okay. So what's your best and final offer?
I don't think Chicago's trading 3. I just don't believe it. Why would they do that? Let me reread the question. Oh, man. Well, obviously 10. 10 is the starting point. What else do you dangle? Like McTavish?
Is that worth it?
Is it worth it for James Higgins? I think yes.
Is that enough of an upgrade off of Roger McQueen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think it would take McTavish. Let's say it's 10 plus the second. Do they have their second this year? Let's find out. Let's see. The Ducks have a second round pick this year. So your first, your second, your third, both of your fourths for third plus a player, a prospect. Do you think that gets it done? I think the reason that Chicago wants to trade it is to get immediate help. Zegras for 3rd overall, straight up.
You tell me.
Honestly, I don't think I'd do that because I'm a little worried that James Higgins might plateau at Trevor Zegras. Like, that's who I would want at 3 because I think Schaefer and Misa are off the board. And then after that, I'm not a huge Anton Frondell guy. Caleb Desnoyers, I really like him, but I don't like him at 3. So it's really about Higgins for me, and I don't know. It might not be worth it. But the thing is, there's a huge jump from 10 to 3. It's just, what is it going to cost? Is where I guess my best and final offer is just my first, my second, and my third, and my fourth. Sure, whatever.
Okay. All right. Duck Jaggernaut said, if you could have Pat Verbeek on the pod as a guest, but you only got to ask him one single question, what would your question be? Oh, this is easy for me, actually.
Why?
Can I make this clear that he has to have truth serum? This cannot ruin our relationship with them and the Ducks. And and he cannot get pissed at me for asking this, because I don't want him pissed at me, but whatever. Is what it is. What in the Joel Quenneville interviewing process made you comfortable to believe his side of the story?
Yeah, I like that.
Because that to me, going back to our last episode, is really just my big question overall.
No, yeah, I think that's probably the right question to ask. I was going to ask something like, is Trevor Zegras the center? On truth serum, though. Doesn't get to say and for like 10 minutes. Has to actually answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we cover the whole spectrum there with those two questions.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm going to go to Blue Sky real quick, and then we'll hit some questions from Twitch and YouTube. So Twitch and YouTube start getting questions in the chat. But Random Hockey Thoughts said, question blitz for the day. So quick hitters. You have to just go. Someone offer sheets McTavish 5 times 9.3, match or pass, and I'll give you this.
Pass.
9.3 gets you 2 firsts, a second, and a third.
Pass. Immediate pass.
Okay. Wow, that was quicker than I thought you were going to be.
2 firsts.
Okay.
And a second.
All right. Gauthier plus first plus Hellison for Robertson. Who says no?
The Stars.
Duh.
Oh, Gauthier. Why did I read that as Gaucher? I fell into the trap. I have never fallen into that up until now. Who says no? The Ducks.
The Ducks.
The Ducks say no.
The Ducks say no.
Gaucher, really?
Should the Ducks offer sheet Maverick Bork at 2 times 2.3?
I mean, it must be like nothing.
1/3.
Yes, I really like Maverick Bork.
Okay.
So.
All right. So there's that. I still can't believe that got you. All right. So now
is there like a star slant on these questions?
It seems like it a little bit. I mean, they're in the news. All right. So we're going to go to Twitch and YouTube. So if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast services, you can find us at twitch.tv/crashpond, where if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch Prime gaming sub each and every month, and it helps out more than you can imagine. So please give us that sub if you have that. You can be just like our good friend Ducks Jaggernaut. Resub for his 32nd month there. So thank you so much for that. Or if you don't have Twitch, if you prefer YouTube and you have a YouTube account, and yes, I know everyone listening to this has a YouTube account. Everyone does. It's just the reality of the world today. Go to youtube.com/crashpond and you can subscribe to our channel over there. You can like our videos there. You can get notified whenever we go live. And so we're going to start with a question from YouTube here. The Sacred A says, do you think if the Ducks get Marner, will this push Colangelo out of the lineup?
No. I ran through this, and he still has a spot on the 4th line.
There it is. Alex Olvera said, is Verbeek still around to give Trouba an extension?
Well, he could give it to him on July 1st. So, yes.
Yeah, he could. X Nicholas Rage says, Gibson for Tippett. What Tippett? Am I missing? Tippett. Oh. I was thinking of a goalie of some sort because Gibson's being traded.
Is Owen Tippett, he's on the
Flyers now.
I thought he was on the Flames for some reason because of that trade.
No.
I mean, sure. Like, why would the Flyers do that? Is my question.
Yeah.
Like,
is Gibson traded this offseason?
I don't think so. I just think, like, what's it gonna take? If it hasn't happened by now, like, it's just never gonna happen.
Now he'll be traded tomorrow.
Carolina, What? Okay, if
Well,
Edmonton,
Carolina's out. Carolina's out because they extended Freddie Anderson.
oh, did that happen today?
No, that happened.
When did that happen?
Am I making this up? When did that happen?
I mean, I haven't been online as much.
Now I'm
today.
second guessing myself. I
I mean,
swear that happened.
You could be right. I haven't been as present.
Maybe.
No, he's a UFA next season, next summer.
Wait, wasn't he UFA this summer?
Maybe they gave him a 1-year deal. Yeah, he signed a 1-year deal on May 3rd.
Okay.
I just did not see that.
Okay.
I missed that.
All right. So I'm not going crazy here.
I mean, but the thing is, that doesn't preclude a Gibson trade. Like, you could easily just flip that. Also, Freddie Anderson's 35. When the hell did that happen?
Where did time go?
When the hell did that happen? Holy crap! I thought he was like 29. Oh my god.
Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, I think Carolina's still in play, and I think Edmonton is like, if Edmonton loses in Game 6 and Skinner shits the bed, like,
I mean,
you can't run it back with that goalie tandem.
There's a world that they win the cup and you still can't run it back with this goalie tandem.
Agreed. I mean, the Oilers should get John Gibson. They really should.
They picture if they had John Gibson this year.
Yeah, they'd probably have already won the cup. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
But it would help a lot to not have to do what they're doing with their goalies right now.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go to shit show questions because I don't see any other questions in our Twitch or YouTube chat. Hammock M says, in addition to Firefox, does Felix also use MySpace? Is MySpace still around?
I don't think it works if you go to it. Let me type it in.
Should we bring back MySpace?
Bring back profile songs? Ooh, MySpace still works. MySpace.com.
Profile. Do you remember how you could like customize your whole like setup on MySpace?
Oh yeah, I dearly miss those days.
Oh, my MySpace had so many water polo highlights on it. That was where it went.
It seems like it's basically like a music website now.
I mean, that's kind of what it became. MySpace was great.
Also, I love how you can like sign in with your Facebook account on MySpace now.
Oh,
that's a sad thing.
Logan saying you're about to get a virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Duck Shaggernaut said, what's the most overrated band in the history of music?
I don't know. I'm not a big music guy.
There's a couple that I could say that's going to piss some people off here.
Beatles?
My wife will maybe divorce me if I say that, so I can't say that.
Okay.
Not commenting on whether that's true or not. What band do I think is the most overrated band? Ancient Mariner saying Motley Crue. I think that's a good shout. I don't know if they're like highly rated though. Guns N' Roses. Oh, Sacred A. Perfect. Kiss. 100%. It's Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, Kiss is it. Guns N' Roses. Use Your Illusion was a great album.
More people are saying Kiss.
Yeah,
there's
Kiss.
a theme here. AC/DC, Kiss, Guns N' Roses.
AC/DC is good. I will not stand for that.
Damn. Take your stand.
I was going to say, just to piss off our good friend Connor whenever he listens to this, Metallica.
Ooh. Why is it like all the same genre just being lumped in together?
That was purely to piss off Connor because as I thought about it more, I'm like, no, I can't do that. Enter Sandman.
Here's my thing. Music is very, very subjective.
Oh, yeah.
Like what you like, and who cares if it's overrated
or
not.
Like,
yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
No. Wow. This came to an end quick.
Yeah.
119. I guess it's time.
Do you want to do a blind ranking?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Just cause.
Why the hell not? NBA.
Oh no! Hold up! Chuck Jaggernaut saying the correct answer was Blink-182. I'm going to ban you, Eric, right now for that statement. I'm not actually going to, but still.
He's had some very funny comments. I don't know if I can repeat them all on the pod. He had one disparaging Mason McTavish earlier. Mason, literally Nick Ritchie McTavish. That's. I'm not gonna say that's horrible. I'm not gonna say that that's close, but it's not horribly far off in some ways.
Ancient Ancient Mariner saying blind rake European football clubs. We want to do that again.
Can we?
We did that at one point.
Oh yeah, we can. I can bring that up.
I think I got royally screwed by it.
He had another funny take. Zegers to Chicago would have me in an asylum. That's extreme. How about this one? Get DJ JoJo on the pod. That might be the one we can pull down from the Ducks organization.
Probably.
They only send us their best, you know.
No, we won't.
Nobody listens as part of the show. Nicholas Rage says we need to move McTavish while people still believe he's a 2C with 1C potential hitting.
I mean, I don't disagree.
I don't disagree either. Maybe not need to move, but
A little excessive, but yeah.
They're entering the kind of the Goldilocks zone of now is the time where you can still trade him.
Yeah.
All right, blind rank football teams, aka soccer teams.
Okay.
Up first, Manchester United.
I'll go with a solid 3.
3.
Yeah.
Any reason for that?
I don't hate them as much as everyone else does, but obviously they are the big bad. I remember playing FIFA as a kid, like FIFA 2000 or whatever. I'm playing with them because they were really good. Mm-hmm. So I don't hate them as much as others, but definitely don't love them.
Okay. Oh, well, up next is Chelsea.
5.
Okay.
Easy. Do not like Chelsea at all.
Wow. Okay. No comment. Bayer Leverkusen.
I'll go with a solid 2.
2. Okay. Don't know what that means. Aston Villa.
Let's go with 4.
4.
We'll see how much I hate myself with who comes in at 1.
Your number 1 is Arsenal.
No.
It is.
That's...
Is that bad? I don't know if that's bad or not. Is that Tottenham's rival? Is that why you're going crazy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's do this one. This one will be more. This one will be more broad-reaching. Vacation destinations.
Okay. I still can't believe that happened. God damn it.
People are laughing at you in the
I
chat.
know. They're laughing at my pain.
These are countries, by the way.
Oh.
Blind rank vacation destination countries. Up first, South Africa. I have not heard good things about visiting South Africa.
I mean, the beaches have looked nice. I'll go 4. I'm gonna open the door for more.
4. Turkey.
I know nothing. I know nothing about Turkey, so I'll go 3.
3. Okay. You know nothing, so you'll rank it ahead of something else. That's
sure. I'm just middle of the road.
Up next, Italia.
Oh, I'll go 1. Love Italy. Have been.
You've been. Okay. Up next, the United States.
5. I live here.
Really?
I live here.
What if you wanted to go to like Hawaii?
I'm just saying, like, okay. I'm more saying internationally traveling, so that stays at 5 because that's not traveling international.
Where would you travel to in the U.S. if you were to do a vacation right now?
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. I mean, Hawaii's probably top of my list.
Okay.
Just because sitting on a beach. I'd probably do Hawaii. Let's see, where else would I want to go? I'd go back to the East Coast, go to like Boston again.
Yeah, the big cities.
Go out to Minnesota and go to a lake out there in the summer.
Wow. Hit up Goose.
Yeah. Or end up in like Seattle. I've yet to go to Seattle. Been to Portland.
Seattle would be cool. Yeah, I need to see Washington, D.C.
I've been to D.C.
That's on my bucket list.
It's cool.
Okay, so the U.S. is 5, though, despite all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Your number
See, I'm
2
doing this as like traveling internationally.
Your number 2 is Norway, which I think it's a solid one.
I'm good on this one.
Okay,
much better than the soccer one.
I'm giving you another round just to see how this goes.
Soccer or vacation?
Vacations.
Okay.
I just want to put you in a pretzel.
Oh, lovely.
Lebanon. Lebanese food is great.
Lebanese food is so good.
It's S tier.
I'll go 4.
How's that 4?
3.
Are we
I
just
don't
throwing
know.
out? Are we just throwing out like safety concerns?
Yeah, that's pretty much
Okay. Okay.
that's pretty much the reason why I was doing 4.
I would have put it at 5, but
Okay,
you-
I'll do
you
5. Do 5.
Oh, it's a 4 now. Too late.
Okay.
Maldives.
The Maldives 1.
Or
Yeah, I was gonna do 5. I was trying to be nice by putting it at 4, though.
Is it bad that I don't have much interest in going there?
The Maldives, it looks so beautiful.
It's super far. It's just far to like sit on a beach.
Okay, but like that was not the question.
I'm not a huge believer, but I should probably have an open mind. Where'd you put it?
The Maldives, I put it 1.
Oh, at 1?
Yeah,
Is it bad that all these years I thought it was Maldives? That's embarrassing.
just a little bit.
I'll wear that one. Costa Rica. Ooh.
Ooh,
Costa Rica's very
Costa Rica's 2. Costa Rica's beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah. France. Ooh.
3.
3. Heavy hitter there. And your number 5 is Portugal.
Man, I screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Home of the GOAT.
Portugal maybe should have been 1, honestly.
Home of the GOAT.
Have you heard that in Portugal there's a like bridge that's meant to be exactly like the Golden Gate Bridge?
Really?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Where though?
I forget. Let me look it up real quick. We are
How
just
much-
in the absolute shit show.
How much of this is just you want to go surf in Portugal?
Oh, is it bad that like most of the places I've vacationed I've surfed?
No.
Actually, no, that's not true.
Why would that be
But
bad?
it's happened like on my honeymoon in Australia, surfed.
Well, Portugal
Hawaii
is like known
surfed.
for surfing.
Yeah. Golden Gate Bridge. I would love Morocco actually has a really cool point break that I'd love to go to.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a suspension bridge in Lisbon that is supposed to look like the Golden Gate Bridge a bit.
Want to hear some bad food takes from our Discord?
Sure.
No need
Might
for
as well.
dessert. No
Yeah,
need for dessert.
that's a horrible take.
Yeah. Ice cream is bad.
Yeah, that's a horrible take.
Let's see. What else is there that's bad? Most of the takes in our food channel are pretty bad. What do you make of this Cheez-It pizza?
I'd be willing to try it.
I would not be. It looks like garbage.
I mean, why not?
What do you make of walking tacos? I did not know this was a thing until a few days ago. Do you know what a walking taco is?
No, I don't.
It's a Midwestern dish where they put the taco topping / ingredients in a bag of chips.
Oh, I
And they
have
mix
heard
the
of
chips
this.
together with it.
What do I think of that?
I think it
mean-
looks gross. Why would you eat out of a bag?
Why not?
Food should be consumed on a plate or in a bowl. This is like very elementary stuff.
Don't judge it until you try it.
I mean, it just looks dumb.
Don't knock it till you try
I'm
it.
sure it tastes good because it's like taco stuff, but like, why not just eat it normally? I don't quite get that. Ooh, there was a debate this weekend actually in our food channel about ranking pancakes, waffles.
Waffles
and-
1.
What's the third one?
French
I'm
toast?
forgetting. Oh, French toast. Yeah.
Waffles 1, pancakes 2, French toast 3.
What?
Yeah.
French toast is number 1, and it's not. It's just not close. Well-made French toast is like one of the best things you can ever eat. It's just so tasty.
No, agreed, but there is bad French. I think there's more bad French toast. This is your pizza take. That I think there's more bad French toast than there is good French toast.
That could be
I think
true.
there are more good waffles than there are bad waffles, and pancakes just end up in the middle.
I think pancakes are just better than waffles. I'm just not a big waffle guy. I don't get it. I don't get the deal.
Of waffles?
It's fine. Like they're fine.
Waffles are better. Waffles are a better consistency than a pancake, I think, and it leads to a better taste.
If you want to talk about things that there's a lot of bad of, pancakes. Pancakes
there can be, but I think pancakes are more consistent.
No, see, I disagree. I think pancakes can just be like rubber if you get them from like McDonald's or something.
Wow, was that a shot?
No,
was that a shot?
It's not. It's not a shot. Not at all. I do like a great pancake, though. Here's the take that's actually true: is crepes above all of those. That's the correct take.
Crepes are fine. They're fine.
Okay. Not the correct take, but that's fine. All right, it's an hour 30.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
That's the point of no return. But we hadn't podded in a while, so we're give the people what they want. But if you enjoyed this show and you want to support us and keep this thing trucking and just trucking, there's a really easy way to do that. Go check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/crashthepond. For $2 a month, you get access to a patrons-only Discord server where you can connect with us at any time of day or with other diehard Ducks fans. You can up that pledge to $7.50 per month. You get 2 bonus podcasts a month, and you get prospect scouting report videos that I've been putting up leading up to the draft. So that's all at the Patreon. Go check that out. You can also leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. So if you've been enjoying the show and you haven't left a review yet, go do that. It's really, really easy, and it actually helps us out quite a bit with the algorithm stuff. You can also subscribe to us on Spotify. Follow us on social media platforms, X, Blue Sky. We're active everywhere, so find us there. And on that note, thank you for listening, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Bye.